In this video, I'm gonna talk about what is inflation, why it is caused, is it good or bad, and can we control it or not. So let's start.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sandesh Parsad. I'm a chartered accountant and you're watching #JustPhilosophy. If you like videos about perspective, personal finance and productivity, please don't forget to subscribe this channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any of my videos. So let's get started. So what is inflation? Just like Dementors in Harry Potter suck soul from people, similarly inflation sucks soul from your money, and money soul is its purchasing power. Okay, let me give you an example about this, how inflation works. Let's say you have 10 pounds and you decided to buy 10 apples with those 10 pounds based on the rate of apple prevailing, let's say in 2020, but then somehow you decided to wait till COVID pandemic ends and you will go back and buy those 10 apples with those 10 pounds in 2021, right? So you wait for the whole year, you put your 10 pounds into a drawer, shelf, safe, and then when 2021 comes, you took those 10 pounds, you went to the shopkeeper and asked him to give you 10 apples with those 10 pounds. Now the shopkeeper is most probably gonna tell you that, hey boss, you can only have 9 apples with 10 pounds, not 10 apples with 10 pounds. Now, where did that one apple go? Inflation ate that one apple. Yes, inflation is an invisible thief. Let me give you another example about it. Let's say your income has been doubled since last year and you're very happy that you have become richer, but everyone else in the society has tripled their income. Now, technically speaking, you have become poorer, not richer. So that's how inflation works. So with this example, let me tell you about the concept of real return and nominal return, correct? Nominal return, you can see it is doubled, but in reality, you have gone back. You have become poorer. And what's the formula of real return? Real return is nominal return, less inflation, and less government taxes. Why the hell does this inflation exist? Well, it exists because of 3 reasons. One is boom in economy. When everyone starts making more and more money, they start demanding more products and services. Whereas on the other hand, the demand has increased, but the supply has remained constant. This results in increase in the price. Now what happens? Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a car manufacturing unit in your country which can only make 100 units in a year, but now there are 120 customers to buy that 100 cars, and to get the 100 cars, the customer will be willing to pay more money, and then the price will increase, so that out of those 120, only 100 customers who are more richer within this 120 group can actually afford the car. So as soon as you start affording a car, the car prices increases, you know. Now this is called demand pull inflation. So if you think about it, this type of inflation increases your employment rate as well. Now this car manufacturing unit will start hiring people so that it can make 120 units next year, so that it can serve the people, those 20 people who are left with no car and still want to buy a car, right? They will increase their capacity, they will generate employment, and economy will boom further. That's one type. Second reason for inflation to exist is increase in cost of goods and services. Some of the elements of cost of goods or services could be raw material, fuel, labor cost, rent, and other overheads, right? This type of inflation is called cost push inflation. Third type of inflation is caused by currency devaluation, and one reason for currency devaluation is liquidity injection, or printing money and injecting it into the economy. Now this type of inflation is very, very dangerous inflation, and it can cause hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is not like normal inflation. Normal inflation can range from 2 to 3% to up to maximum 15-20%, but hyperinflation is like 50 million% inflation per annum. That much, that is hyperinflation, and that is caused due to printing money or excessive liquidity injection. Now if you guys don't know about how does this inflation work, I have created a separate video on why we cannot print money and pay off the debts, or print money and give it to poor so that they can afford food, shelter, things like that. There's a big problem with this type of approach, and I've explained it in a video, and I have posted a link in the description below. It seems like there are multiple problems with having inflation. So is inflation really bad? Not really. See, if your income and rate of inflation increases with the same percentage, then inflation is not bad for you. But yes, inflation is bad for your savings, for your money which you have already earned. Now, to control this thing, or to avoid inflation eating up your money's purchasing power, you have to make sure that you invest your money into a place where the rate of return is at least equal to the rate of inflation. So the key thing is to control inflation. Well, yes, we can control inflation, and governments control it by involvement of central banks or state banks of any particular country. Now, there are three ways of controlling inflation by government. One is by increasing or decreasing interest rate. By increasing interest rate, cost of borrowing money increases, which discourages people to borrow money and start spending on things like buying property or buying a car or things like that. So the demand for those products start decreasing, and then prices for those products also start decreasing, and hence inflation decreases. On the other hand, if you reduces the interest rate, people start borrowing more and more because borrowing rate is very cheaper, and then they start buying things, creating more demand, and inflation then increases. Second way of controlling inflation is by controlling liquidity injection into the economy. That can be done by managing government expenditure and by controlling printing of money. Third way to control inflation is to increase or decrease taxes. If, let's say, government wants to discourage something, which let's say is an import or something like that, they can increase or decrease taxes. Taxes increases or decreases the cost of prices, as well as it encourages or discourages the buying or consumption pattern of consumers. So with these three things, a government or a country can control inflation. Wait a minute, if we can control inflation, then why don't we have 0% inflation? It's not that much simple. See, 0% inflation means there is no growth in demand, which means there is no growth in economy. Also, 0% inflation means that your salary and my salary remains constant across all the years, so that we can have a constant price for all the goods and services in the economy, which doesn't really sound good, right? So the key is to control the inflation in a way that it remains within its acceptable ranges. Alright guys, with this we are concluding this video. Now you know in layman term what is inflation, why is it caused, is it good or bad, can we control it or not, and whether 0% inflation is a good idea or not. If you really like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.